Okay, so in the previous lecture we had discussed about correlation and regression, and we talked about why correlation cannot, be taken as a measure that imply a cause and effect relationship, and regression is precisely the way in order to establish a cause and effect relationship. So taking our lecture forward, this lecture will talk about classical multiple linear regression model. One of the first basic point, or you can say the basic starting point for any student of econometrics is classical linear regression model. Now, what precisely this model is all about, that's what we'll discuss in this lecture. So the name says classical multiple linear regression model. So, the generic form of classical multiple linear regression model is written as y is a function of x1, x2, and if I've taken k such number of explanatory variables like this. This is a generic form of classical linear regression model, that we say that I have a dependent variable y that depends on these k number of explanatory variables that I think, right? And it can also be written as x1 beta 1, x2 beta 2, so on, xk beta k plus a random error term y. Now you must understand that the theory will define the dependent and independent variables. If the theory is on earnings and education and work experience and community and so on and so forth, so the theory determines the dependent and independent variable in the model, and what type of function should be employed will also get determined by the theoretical propositions. So what type of function means whether the function is a log linear, whether the function is that of a reciprocal relationship. So you must understand that in Phillips curve, when they try to establish or where Phillips claims an inverse relationship between change in wage rate and change in inflation, that's where this functional relationship between y and x gets also determined by the theoretical propositions. And what set of dependent and independent variables our model will have will also come from the economic model that we think as behavior of the economy. So in a very generic form, the classical linear regression model function looks like this. These x's are nothing but the explanatory variables that you think in the model, and these betas are nothing but the coefficient attached with each of these explanatory variables. And these betas, they are population parameters, they are called parametric constants. So these population parameters are unknown to us. That's why one of the first thing in econometrics that we do is to estimate these unknown population parameters using certain estimation techniques. And then you also notice this u, which is called as random or error term, or they are also called as disturbances. Why they are called random or error term, or why they are included first in the model is, you must understand that no matter how much you elaborate your theory, you will not be able to include all the explanatory variables in the model, right? Second thing is, there are errors of measurement in economic variables. And one of the most important contributor in this random vector is that errors of measurement. So this u disturbs an otherwise precise mathematical relation between y and all these x's. That's why y can be thought of as being composed of two definite parts. First part is called your deterministic portion. And this part, which brings an element of randomness in this, otherwise mathematical relationship, is called a random or stochastic portion. Now, if you remember our first lecture, I told you that an econometric model consists of three specifications: a set of behavioral equation that is given by this, and a specification of probability distribution of the random error term. This is where this U comes, and this is where assumption of CLRM will come in effect over here. So this is the rough generic, or you can say generic function of a population regression function. It is also called as population regression function. Why they are called as population regression function? Because in CLRM, the first thing that we do is we assume such population regression function existing in the economy, right? And what this population regression function is all about, this talks about the mathematical equation between y and all the explanatory variables that you think influence y in the model. So first of all, we assume such type of function existing in the economy, and then we go for estimating these unknown population parameters, and then we testing the various hypotheses. And once the model is deemed adequate, then we use this model for policy and prediction purposes. So first of all, we assume such population regression function existing, and the generic form of this population regression function is like this. And you must understand, those of you who would have done certain linear algebra course, that this y can also be thought of as linear combination of these x's plus a random error term. Now, what precisely is a linear combination? I can tell you a very rough example. So you can think that in a room, if you take the corners as your axis. So let us say that this is my x-axis, this length is your x-axis, breadth is your y-axis, and height is your z-axis. So you must understand the roof, the floor part is all those points which are exactly lying on the xy plane, right? And the ceiling part are all those points which lies at a certain height from this xy plane. That is, this is parallel to this xy plane, right? Now, what is exactly a linear combination? So it can be explained like this. I'll erase this part. So linear combination can be thought of as like this. So suppose this is my origin 0, 0, right? This is my x, this is my y, y dash, x dash. So this is positive, this is negative, positive, negative, 4 quadrant. Now all those of who are a little bit comfortable in vectors, that there is a unit vector defining each of the directions. So I'll have a unit vector I over here, and I have a unit vector defined in y direction as j hat, right? They are a very unique vector because a certain mathematical operation on these two vectors defines this entire plane. What I'm saying is, those two mathematical operations are, first of all, an addition, and second is scalar multiplication. Order does not matter. So what it means is, suppose I have to reach point 2 and 3, right? So what I do is, I have to go 2 units in the x direction. So this is a unit vector, that is vector of length 1. So I multiply this I hat by 2 times I hat, and I have to go 3 units in the y direction. So I multiply this j hat as 3 units, and then I add them. I'll precisely read this point denoted by vector 2y hat plus 3j hat. These vectors are independent of each other. That is, they are perfectly lying at an angle of 90 degree. And these two operations, addition stands for, here scalar multiplication is 2 times I hat, 3 times j hat. Combination of these two mathematical operations using this I hat and j hat vector span this entire plane. I can reach point here, 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 here. Any point on this plane can exactly be described by these two unit vectors. And why precisely so? Because these two unit vectors are entirely independent of each other. And any such combination of these two unit vectors are called as linear combination of vectors. So you can think of this as that all the points on the floor is a linear combination of the unit vectors in x direction and y direction. Now, what was the purpose of telling you this over here is, so you must understand this 2I hat plus 3z, it is a scalar multiplication. How did I write my population regression function as y is equal to beta 1 x1 beta 1 plus x2 beta 2 plus mu. For the sake of simplicity, let me write it like this. So what do I mean by this? If I, for the time being, if I just ignore this mu part, y is written as x1 beta 1 plus x2 beta 2. Thinking of these beta 1 and beta 2 as scalar multiplication, that is parametric constant, and if I take x1 to be the x-axis, y1 to x2 to be the y-axis, y is explained as linear combination of, so if x1 and x2, if these two are vectors and they are linearly independent of each other, so what it means is they are not collinear. So if there any certain angle between, so if I say that x1 and x2 के बीच में angle है, through this x1 and x2 which are linearly independent of each other, I can span this entire plane. So if I ignore this mu over here, y can be exactly thought of as linear combination of these two vectors x1 and x2. And similarly, you can go on increasing the number of explanatory variables as long as you ignore this mu part. It tells you that y lies in the plane spanned by all these vectors. So that's why y can be thought of as linear combination of vectors. We'll talk about this as the course progresses and we go for estimation purpose, but just keep in mind this fact. Okay, so having defined the population regression function, let us move to the next part, and that is very important part in CLRM, and that is called as assumptions. Of CLRM. Now, you must understand, we had defined that a model must have certain realistic assumptions, or model rests on certain assumptions, any model. So CLRM in like fashion also rests on certain assumptions, and these assumptions are defined for the data set that will be produced by an underlying data generating process. So in formal notation, let me write it as CLRM consists of I write it here as the CLRM. ये पॉइंट याद रखिएगा क्योंकि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि assumptions होता है किस चीज के लिए. CLRM consists of a set of assumptions about how a data set will be generated by an underlying data generating process. So please keep this in mind that assumptions are for the data set that will be produced, right? How we assume our data set to be produced are exactly the assumptions of our CLRM. Okay? So let us move forward and discuss these assumptions one by one. I'll erase this. So the first assumption is also included in the title, and that assumption is linearity. Now, what do we mean by linearity assumption is, linearity in regression, and in particular in classical linear regression model, refers to the manner in which the parameters and the error term enters the equation. अभी हमने कुछ देर पहले क्या देखा था कि y is also said to be as linear combination of those x1 and x2. That's where linearity refers. Linearity does not refer to the manner or does not refer to the relationship between y and x. X can be x1 squared, x can be log of x, x can be cos of x, x can be sine of x. Similarly, y can be log of x. So linearity does not talk about the relationship between y and x. Linearity refers to the manner in which parameters, that is your unknown population parameters, and the disturbance term enters the equation. Whether the relationship between y and x is linear or non-linear, it does not matter to us. As long as parameters and error term enters the equation linearly, our assumption of linearity is satisfied. So let us understand this. So if I say that let small xk be a column vector consisting of n observations, right, where k goes from 1 capital K. You must understand I am talking about k number of such explanative variables, k number of such columns, each consisting of n number of observations on them. So I have first explanative variable denoted as x1, I will have n number of observations on them. Second explanative variable denoted as x2, I will have n number of observations on them. And similarly, I will have the last column xk, capital K, and I will also have n number of observations on them. So what I do next is I take all these such k columns and assemble them in a data matrix. That's what you do after your data collection. You collect all the data on the variables and you collect them in a matrix form. So I define that data matrix as a bold letter X, and the dimension of this matrix, you must understand, it has n number of observations on each of the columns, so n number of rows, and I have k number of columns because I have taken k number of explanative variables. So I have the dimension of the data matrix can be thought of as n times k. N stands for number of rows, k stands for number of columns, right? So this is my data matrix. इसका आइडिया समझ में आ गया कैसा है ये कुछ ऐसा दिखेगा x11 x12 से लेके x1n x21 x22 से लेके x2n x31 x32 से लेके x3n and similarly xk1 I have xkn, right? So I have k such columns and each column consists of n number of observations are nothing but the data points that you have collected on each of those k number of explanative variables. So this is my entire data matrix. ठीक है, यहाँ तक point clear है? आगे बढ़ते हैं. इसको मैं रहने देता हूँ, right? So if I have n such number of observations on the explanative variables, I also have n such observations on my dependent variable. So y1, y2, so on till yn. So this is a column vector consisting of n number of observations. That's why I'm writing it here. Let me write this. चलेगा. और अगर मेरे पास n नंबर ऑफ ऑब्जर्वेशंस ऑन डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल है, n नंबर ऑफ ऑब्जर्वेशंस ऑन इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स है, तो मेरे पास n नंबर ऑफ ऑब्जर्वेशंस ऑन रैंडम डिस्टर्बेंस भी है. सो आई राइट दिस एज ओके. ये तो क्या रिप्रेजेंटेशन। अब एक और चीज यहाँ पे मिसिंग है, वो है हमारा अननोन पॉपुलेशन पैरामीटर्स। वो कैसे फिट होता है यहाँ पे? यू रिमेंबर आवर जेनेरिक इक्वेशन ऑफ पॉपुलेशन रिग्रेशन फंक्शन इज right? So x1 multiplied by beta 1, if you know matrix multiplication, I have written in n number of observations उल्टा फॉर्म, but you must know dimensions का n times k है। तो beta 1 जो होगा, beta 1 will get multiplied by this vector, right? Beta 2 will get multiplied by this vector. Similarly, beta k will get multiplied by this last column vector. Here matrix multiplication is conformable because number of column of the first matrix is equal to number of rows of the second matrix, right? Now you must understand, so beta 1 get इसको अगर मैं other way में लिखूं यहाँ पे, तो I can write this as y1, y2, so on till yn. It must be thought of as something like this. For the entire column vector, let me write it as x1. For the entire column vector x2, so on, beta k, xk, and plus let me write it as mu, vector mu, right? And that's why you must understand what does exactly linearity mean over here. Linearity, now you can understand that y is nothing but linear combination of all these vectors, right? And why linear combination of all these vectors? Because the parameters that are attached to these column vectors is linear. If any of these parameters is non-linear, your assumption of linearity will not be satisfied, meaning which you cannot estimate a non-linear regression model using the technique of classical linear regression model. So this is our first assumption of linearity. Next assumption, or isko in totality it can be written as, if y can be written for the entire vector, I write it as bold letter y. For the entire data matrix, I write it as bold letter x. For the entire vector of beta, I write it as beta plus mu. So this becomes your first assumption of CLRM. But keep in mind that assumption of linearity refers to the manner in which parameters and the disturbance term both. Disturbance term entering linearly means disturbance is additive in nature, right? So please keep this in mind that if disturbance term is multiplicative in nature, you cannot estimate your model. So linearity refers to the manner in which parameters and the random error term enters the equation and not necessarily the variables. So I wind up my lecture over here. In the next lecture, we move forward with the second and further assumptions.